We're still in pre-game stuff.
Yeah, I pre-gamed.
Time to pre-game?
We pre-game. That is actually a half that you have on, my friend.
I got my Pedialyte.
Your Pedialyte.
We pre-gaming? I got some Powerade from the CVS down the street. Not sponsored. Man. Not sponsored, by the way.
By
CVS, if you hit us up, we will totally sponsor CVS, right?
Well,
yeah.
I don't know. I think
yeah,
CVS
I will sponsor
us, not vice versa.
No, I'm sponsoring CVS. I went there earlier.
I don't know that I can sponsor CVS, but
I'm going to sponsor CVS.
CPA.
There's one right down the road. I got some delicious tortilla chips.
In the house.
Oh, congratulations!
There's our CPA.
I didn't think it was possible, but putting those 3 letters on the end of your name, like, you got a whole lot sexier, Dennison.
That's some power behind those letters. I'll tell you what. So how is everybody? We are live, just FYI, but just checking in.
Great.
You're great. Let me update your volume. You're a little quiet. For those in the chat, if it is quiet, if you could let me know, that would be top notch. Because that is a consistent work in progress. It's this awful thing where you can't actually adjust your volume of things unless you're live. But if you go live and you're not doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing, it's kind of goofy. So, if everyone could say something, that'd be top.
I got a standing desk today.
That's what I'm talking about.
Very happy about that.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm gay.
Nice.
I'm also proud of you.
You are? I mean, I know you have a husband and everything, but...
Checks out.
But is that gay?
I'm shocked. I am shocked. I am shocked.
Wait.
Homo sapien.
Anna says,
is your husband also gay?
Wait, your husband is gay? You married a gay guy? Oh.
Daggum.
I am now officially a CP gay.
That is so awesome. I'm
CP
so
gay all day. I like it.
You said you were worried about it too, and I'm so glad it worked out so well for you.
Seriously.
Dang.
Also,
so
you have no audio for the record. Just a quick.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh.
I haven't really said anything yet.
There they are. That's right. Pronouns.
My internet is having a time today, so I had to preemptively switch it to something else to make sure maybe this might work. Maybe.
Okay, well the video's off, but the sound quality is there, so it's a little crackly. But I think no. I already went through one plague, not a second one. But I think there's so much data in this OneNote document that there's no effective way to back it up. I mean, I've got folders and folders and folders. You know how I am. But
probably the only way would be to get like an external hard drive and then literally back it up physically. Yeah. Which honestly wouldn't be a bad idea with as much time and effort as you invest in these things.
Well, you know.
Be true.
But other announcements. Going into the holiday season. I think we're set. Obviously, I think the week of Thanksgiving and the week of Christmas, we will not have a session. I will be out of state for the week of Christmas. I'll be visiting my family in their undisclosed safe location somewhere within the continental United States. Other than that, we should be good to go. For those that are watching, if you'd like to support the stream, we do have a Patreon at Shredder Audio. And yeah, we also, if you miss part of the stream, they're on YouTube too. If you search Shredder Audio, unfortunately, Subnautica, which is a fantastic game, has a creature called the Sea Shredder. So if you search Shredder Audio, you get a lot of audio files of that creature. But I've had this name since 2009. So who's the real winner? But anyway, enough of that. Who remembers what happened last time? We had some missing people that I'm sure would love a lovely recap.
It's me.
It's a me.
It's a me. All right, let's see what I got pulled up. Kyle, if my audio cuts out again, just message me, and I will promptly stop talking to myself.
I will. I'm so sorry. Like, I think I tried to message you last time, and like I think hey, your audio's out, or like I tried to talk to you or something, and it just whole thing was down. The whole system was down.
The thing is that I couldn't hear any of you either, and I didn't even realize it because I don't have the Discord pulled up at the same time as the notes, and yeah, so I just had no idea.
I have
And
your
what?
IMs pulled up
Fine.
just for this in case you go out, so I got you.
Oh, beautiful, wonderful. All right, session 36. Let's go. It's again, we start with Giger being spooky because that's what we always do around here. And he pontificates on this dream journal, and he's like, oh god, and contemplates the weight of what he did to Zothkug in the recent past, and decides that he's going to go find Dice. And so kind of like as he gets up, he's like, oh man, I'm old, which relatable, Giger, but he gets up and gets going. So Dice is in the library, still kind of reeling from what Adao has presented to them. And when Giger walks in, Dice immediately notices how haggard he is already, and his hair is getting grayer, his nails getting longer. Just looks a lot older than Giger used to. And Giger's like, hey, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to go back to Zothkug, probably. Because whatever this is not working. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to go back to where I met the guy, to fulfill my purpose, which is to serve, not any more specific than that. And he's kind of afraid that the Zothkug's gonna start lashing out the party if he doesn't. And Dice is like, we when we signed up to adventure together. We kind of already knew from the get-go that you were into some weird, spooky things, and so we can handle ourselves, and we're willing to take out Zothkug if we need to. And we're not just gonna leave you hanging. And Gear's like, sure, cool, good for you. So Dice makes the suggestion to Geeker to go to Jezebel's, and maybe something that she can get him can help him sleep. And so he goes to Jezebel's, gets a thing for specifically rejuvenation. I don't know exactly what that entails. And then he goes to the Imperial Library to see if he can find anything on Zothkug, and he doesn't really find anything. He finds on a very minor deity called Shantae, I believe is how it's pronounced, who's worshipped by farmers. And Giger also learns that patrons are usually demons, fiends, and super, super minor deities. Instead of the party house, we casually renamed Adler Belloc's old home the Chateau. So I will be referring it to the Chateau Le Stone Dog from here on forward because I find that amusing. So back at the Chateau Le Stone Dog, so Giger comes back and there's a guard, Imperial guard, and he's like, hey, stone dogs collectively, the magistrate would like to have you over for tea. Please and thank you, which I'm just so excited about because tea parties are great. So that's at sundown, and so he tells Mafuyu what's been going on, and Mafuyu tells Fune to watch Giger as he sleeps to make sure he I don't know dies while he's sleeping, or I don't know, Zothkug takes him, I don't know. Oh yeah, and then Dice just has a harebrained idea, and the time where I blindsided Kaya with this whole thing, Dice decides that they're going to throw a party at the Adventurers Hall for Mafuyu specifically because she brings lots of joy into the world and doesn't get a lot back for it. And so Dice is like, you know what? I'm just that sounds like a good idea. So they go to see Artemis and is like, hey Artemis, can I just rent out your whole hall for a little bit for a party? And Artemis is rightfully confused by all of this, and so they make plans to well, not really make plans. Artemis is about to make plans for decorations and whatever, and Dice is brain just going everywhere, so they just zoot out of there. Dice, this is the one where Dice zoots all over town. And so they go and find Fune and ask Fune what Mafuyu's favorite color and flower, and if they like glitter and all that kind of stuff. And it's all very good and wholesome. And so they go and get decorations and drop it off at the Adventurers Hall. And realizes that Artemis keeps referring to Finduli Balaga as the boy, and they're kind of confused by this because Finduli has a name, and Artemis is like, nope, you don't have a name anymore. It got stripped from him, but when he does get a name, he will have earned that name, and it will be a fitting one. Let's see. What else? Oh yeah, back to Gear. So Giger is still thinking about all the stuff that's been happening to him, and he realizes that one of the more prominent symbols on his back is a symbol for life, and his pact with Zothkug is what has given him the life that he has now, and without it, he is dying, and he is aging very rapidly. And if I remember correctly, I think he has somewhere close to 3 or 4 days. Correct me if that's wrong.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay. So Mafuyu is rightfully concerned about all of this, and is like, "Hey Giger, how you doing?" And he's like, "I'm dying. Go talk to Zatsu because I'm dying." And so that Mafuyu, being Mafuyu, panics, and is convinced that she can try to figure out something to help out Giger. He's like, nope, there's no help. There's just Zothkug. And so she's just a bit distraught. And so Dice shows up eventually because Dice is off doing their own deal. And Mafuyu's just white as a sheet. And so she comes in. She's like, "Is there literally anything you can do, Dice? Anything you can do at all? Kind of like anything like you helped Fiune come back to life. So is there anything you can do for Giger?" And I was like, "Well, Giger, Mafuyu had a choice in whether or not she wanted to come back to her body, and Giger has no choices in this matter. His one choice is whether or not he wants to go back to Zothkug, and that is his choice, and we can't really sway him. So all we can really do is just let him know that we care about him and that we're there to support him through all of this." And that isn't, I don't know how reassuring that was. But Dice like, "Hey Giger, are you ready to start moving around? We need to go talk to Artemis." And so Dice kind of carries Giger around on their hip as they go to see Artemis, because he had this big secret mission for all of us to do. So we go back to the Adventurers Hall, and Giger gives Artemis a quick synopsis about why he looks like utter garbage. Yeah, he's like, "Got any advice for a warlock?" Artemis like, communication's good. And I don't know why I found that amusing, but I think it's hilarious. What else? Oh yeah, so what Artemis wants us to do. So he was an adventurer for a time, and never really told us why he stopped adventuring, or really much about what he did. So he had a group of people, and they would go from place to place getting coin and whatnot. And so one day his party was in the woods, and they were staying at this temple. While they were staying at this temple, there was a creature that slain all of his party, and Artemis was the only one that was able to get out alive. So his proposal for the party is for us to retrieve the bodies of his friends and give them a proper burial, because they have been there for a time, and it is a personal mission that he wants carried out. The party would be going to the Silent Wood, which is super spooky, and primarily the reason why he didn't really ask anyone else, because it's a big ask. Dice asks what the temple looks like, because there is whisperings of Temple of Lady being in the Silent Wood somewhere, and he's like, "I don't know, it's been a minute. There's a gazebo with a table on it. That's about all I remember. I guess they would like gather herbs, and while they were on their trips, they would, take dispatch of like different creatures and whatever, and they'd sell the parts and this, that, and the other. And that's kind of what they were doing around there, but I don't remember if that's what they were doing specifically. But and of course everyone agrees, because it's Artemis, and of course we're gonna do it. So Giger, he decides that he has to talk to Zothkug right here, right now. There is no time to lose. So he goes off into one of the Adventure Hall's rooms off to the side, and so he's in there, and as Dyson, Mufuyu finish their conversation about specifics, and he prostrates himself upon the ground and offers out his left arm for Zothkug to do what he wished, because Giger initially tried to slash at Zothkug's left arm when all of this happened. And so for a time, nothing really happens, but he can hear a bit of a scratching underneath his hand. And so he looks, and there is a symbol of the inverted Othala. And then it appears on his palm. And so for the next 30, 40 minutes, Giger figures out that he cuts it upon his palm, and then the blood fills up the etching into the floor. And nothing really seems to happen super immediately, and so he wraps it up and goes to sleep. So Dyson and Mufuyu were like, okay, we haven't seen Giger in a minute. He's been gone for a while. We should probably go check on him, because he's older now and dying, I suppose. So So they go around, eventually find him. Dice opens the door and grabs Mufuyu's hand, and where Giger is just a weathered, dead body. And it's horrific, and the walls and the floors are covered with this inverted Thala, just in blood everywhere. And in the corner, there's the shadow of a giant creature with large horns out in the corner. And Dice, being the concerned friend they are, busts in and goes over to Giger and stands over him. And the shadow kind of fades into the wall. And then we have a Marvel-style post-credit scene that our lovely DM threw in later. So Mufuyu did not actually step into the room with Dice when they did, and is able to see kind of what Zothkug was doing. And so as Dice steps in, makes their stand over Giger and whatnot, Zothkug just kind of turns around, kind of like he's taking a casual stroll, walks away, like this incident was nothing at all.
Mm-hmm. Whereupon Dice challenges a god and is treated like it's nothing, as you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly where we left off. And I'd like to dive a little bit deeper into this scene, because if I remember correctly, Mufuyu, you had a bit of a problem with blood. And so I'm really curious to dive into first your point of view from this scene as we see it, and then kind of see what transpires in the full room. So I'll kind of pull us into this scene.
Kyle, real quick, sorry, not to break your train of thought, but real quick, we should probably say something if this is a Giger heavy episode.
Yeah, I will. I did a little trigger warning in the chat, but I will explain.
Okay, cool.
So Giger's character, actually, this is a perfect segue to another thing that I was supposed to remember before we started this, but we didn't. Giger's character specifically is one of torment with their patron. Giger is not a cleric. Giger is a warlock with a specific contract to uphold, and part of that contract has involved his patron carving a shape into his back, which is representative of Giger's path, his journey, and where he is meant to go and what he is meant to be. And that's not something that Giger fully understands yet, but Giger's patron is exceptionally abusive and violent. And so in times where I kind of focus into that scene and those scenes with Giger, there are going to be things like we saw last session, where he was carving into his palm, just physical and mental abuse. There are aspects of that. It is done in a way to enhance his character, and is absolutely not something that we support and want to be a part of anybody else's life. So if you are struggling with that, absolutely see if somebody can help you with that. I know for a fact that there's resources. I don't have those numbers on hand, but I can provide them if people want them. But it's a storytelling medium, and it's done in such a way that I believe all conflict in D&D should be done, to tell a broader story and to seek resolution and a better path forward. It's something that I've honed in with my players every campaign, every session that I've run, that if you start a conflict within the party, it should be for the party to come together closer and to grow from it. And Giger's relationship with their patron is a long road towards hopefully that. Will that happen? I don't know. I'm just the dungeon master, and I don't describe such things, and I won't tell Giger whether or not his path ends in joy or pain. But one thing that I would love to announce and hopefully see is character introductions in the coming weeks of who these characters are, because we've been playing for the past year, but not the whole audience hasn't seen that. So in the next coming weeks, I'm hoping to have character introductions for each of our characters, and then small snippet recaps for every 5 sessions that we've done beforehand. So this is session 37. We started with session 35 on the stream, I believe. So you'll have 7 recaps detailing the story thus far and kind of like what they've experienced and what brought them to this point. So yeah, that is that. Thank you for reminding me. And if you guys would like to record a small, like 1 to 5 minute segment about who your character is, I would love to put those on YouTube. And or we can potentially, if I can figure out how to do it, we can stream them one night before the session, just back to back. So we'll see. Any other questions or anything before we start? Because that's good stuff, and I have the worst memory, and I forget everything if it's not stapled to my chest.
For us peoples who missed last session, should we be sitting out until introduced, or should we insert ourselves?
I'm going to start you guys off in the tavern, because you should have been present for Artemis's meeting. So if you'd like to enter into the scene after we get going, your entrance, if you'd like to be a part of that, I can absolutely narrate you in. If you'd like to send me a message, let me know when you'd like to come in. I can describe the scene as you enter it and pull that up for you. So you're not excluded, but you're not right there in this moment either.
Ondo and Dow are having a little hand-holding session outside.
Yeah, very, very inappropriate. They're entwining fingers and the whole shebang. Also, I've just been advised by the thunder that there is a thunderstorm outside. So that.
Oh yeah. I'm watching it. I got a big window right next to me. I'm just watching it roll in. It's great.
But let's get into the meat and potatoes of our session, because I don't want to keep our lovely audience waiting super duper long. So as we dive into this scene, Mafuyu, as you stand in the doorway of this room, and just for clarification, this is the same room that your party stayed in at first. You switched rooms because there was some freaky deaky stuff going on. At that point, you had, if I remember correctly, the tome, the 4 of 3, on your person at that point. And there was some freaky poltergeisty things going on. You requested to switch into the rooms next door. This is the first time you really entered that room since. And as you enter it, you see, just as was described in the recap, there's the blood-painted images of an inverted Othala, which looks kind of like this. And if I'm incorrect, then I apologize for people that actually know what they're talking about, because I don't. I just Google things and make it look cool. But that is plastered all over the walls in various shapes and sizes, and you see what looks like Giger, as he would be as just a desiccated, rotted out corpse. You can tell that his skin has been withered in, and it looks like he's been there for a long time. And you see what looks like a quadrupedal shadow, like sticking halfway out the wall, with this very elongated neck and what looks like antlers that go across the sides of the room, spanning like 5 to 10 feet along this wall. Dice at this point has already run in and stood in front of Giger and like stared down the beast, and you watch as it just turns almost without a worry or a whim and walks back through the wall towards the back corner.
I imagine at that point I was kind of holding on to, or Mafuyu was holding on to Dice, and Dice kind of runs past and kind of breaks that plane. And I think in that moment, Mafuyu, her arm reaching out to kind of grasp, gets like this chill that runs down her spine all the way down to like her tail, because she realizes that like there's just so much blood. And so for those of you tuning in, Mafuyu has a deathly fear of blood due to something that she witnessed at a very young age when her parents were murdered and there was blood everywhere. So she has, it's hemophobia?
That sounds
Fear
right.
of blood, or just like a lot of blood. So like little cuts, not so much. But I think that just seeing it, Mafuyu's trying to scream out to Dice, but it almost feels like Mafuyu can't even speak, or she's lost her breath, kind of reaching out, frozen. And it just seems like only her eyes can move, kind of going back and forth from Dice to this image to the blood on the walls. And she starts to like kind of fall in place and just is just stuck.
That is a really, really good segue, actually, for Ondo and Dao. As you guys are out in the lobby of the tavern, holding hands as you do. I'd like to imagine that there's like a discussion of the upcoming quest that you've been given, and you have a meeting with Magistrate Felben here within the hour. You hear what sounds like a thud from the other side of the inn. If you'd like to tend to that, you can, if that would arouse your attention.
Did you hear that?
I did.
Let's go.
Yep, lead the way.
All right.
You all make your way over, and you see that Mifuyu is on her knees in front of this door, just the first door within the actual room portion of the Adventurers Hall. Dice, from inside the room, with your attention focused solely on this beast, you hear this soft thud. And from inside the room, the markings on the wall are gone. You see Giger is there, breathing shallowly. He has this wound on his hand. Seems to be okay. But as your attention focuses on this beast, you, just out of the corner of your eye, watch Mifuyu hit the ground, unable to speak. So as everybody kind of converges, let's dive into that.
I guess outside of the door, after hearing a couple thuds now, Mathuyu as well, I will, kind of look at Dow, let him know we mean business. I'm gonna pull a dagger out.
Okay.
And
Pull my sword.
I'm gonna open it very slowly. Take a look in, and push the door open.
Okay.
Like hard.
You slide the door open again, because I'd imagine that probably, like, as Mifuyu fell, like, it shook the door and it closed or something of that nature. But opening this door, you see initially just the blood everywhere, coating this room, and that's what you enter in on. There's nothing that's a present danger, because at this point, this entity has turned and walked away, but the blood is still very much present from the outside.
I think I'll run over to check Mafuyu first.
Okay. Mifuyu, make a Constitution saving throw for me, if you would, please. With a 9. Ando, you have some experience with Mifuyu being in this situation before. They're not great. You can tell that she's starting to hyperventilate a little bit as she's just focused on this blood. You can see her eyes like going back and forth, like darting across the room, taking in everything. Almost like knowing that she can't be near this, but unable to turn away is her current status.
I'll pull a blanket off of one of the beds.
Okay.
Wrap it around her
into
and
the room.
I am.
Okay. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull a blanket off one of the beds, wrap it around her and pull her farther away. I'll keep her in the room.
Okay.
But I'll just kind of pull her towards the corner.
Okay. I'd like to imagine that as you go into this room, you watch some of this illusion fade away, just very slowly. and you see that Giger is like he's breathing shallowly on the bed where it looked like before he was just this withered corpse of a person. And you grab one of the blankets from the second bed and yank it off and just wrap it around Mafuyu. Are you trying to cover her vision a little bit with it?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell her to close her eyes now. I'm gonna wrap her up in it. So I'm just gonna close your eyes.
Mafuyu, as you are wrapped up in this blanket, I would like to imagine that this is something. Well, how do you feel? How do you feel that affects you in this moment?
I guess I would still be stuck in whatever was happening. Okay. Just not even really noticing that a blanket is on me or being put around me, just because I think the shock of everything going on, it's kind of just so overwhelming that it'll take me a bit to snap out of it.
Okay. Ando, seeing the room in its actual state and seeing how Mafuyu is handling the situation, what do you do?
I think at that point, seeing there's no change, I'm going to try to pick her up and take her out of the room real quick.
Okay.
Kyle, if I blindfold myself, am I sensing anything in the room?
Let's take a look at that ability. What's the verbiage there?
It is blind sight. Let me pull that up.
It's just blind sight. It's not like
I believe so.
Extra sensory.
Well, so it's centered off of my bound weapon, but I think it's up to your discretion as to whether or not that's a magical thing or what have it.
Yeah. Why don't you do me a favor, because I don't want to just broadcast all of your features to the world. Could you copy the text and send that to me, and I will
working on it.
That. Thank you.
Aye.
You're already on top of it. If you feel yourself stuck in this moment, you've been around blood like this before. I mean, the last time this happened, I think, was during your time in the Wither. You had a similar situation, I believe, and I know it happened in the Desire's Den the first go round.
Yeah.
But you feel yourself wrapped up and lifted off the ground and almost like cradled by some creature. You're not sure initially who it is, but you feel just this rhythmic breathing reverberating through this blanket. And I'd like to imagine that as Ando is like carrying you out, he's just like quietly comforting you, just taking you out of that room. Ando, where would you like to take Mafuyu? Unless Mafuyu is going to resist this, because you might. I don't know. It's up to you.
I don't think Mafuyu can resist it.
Okay.
Right now. Just, she's still in shock where honestly, she probably could have gotten stabbed and not even noticed.
Okay. So, Ando, where are you taking your bundle O Mafuyu?
Where's the nearest bagel? I think I'll just we're just gonna go out to the main area, and we'll sit down by the bar. Okay. Probably not in any chairs. We'll probably sit on the floor.
Okay. What a peal of thunder. Sorry, you sat down on the floor and just thunder. Oh man, I love thunderstorms. I love this scene, actually. I would like to imagine that like the bar right now isn't very busy. Like there's tables, there's a couple of patrons like going in and out. And there's this moment where, Ando, this is the second time that you have gone from just this fierce, like rugged, like half-orc ranger that just likes to just like, you are a badass, my guy. Except for moments like these. You take such a caring role in these moments, and you pick Mafuyu up and bring her to the safest place you can think of that's nearby. And just exist with her for a couple minutes. You're shaking your head no. What's up?
For maybe a couple seconds.
Okay, and then you're leaving?
And then I'm thinking about that countertop where I saw that blood streak right next to me.
Okay, that is not there right now.
Right. But also, after seeing the blood and seeing it disappear in the room, and seeing the blood from the book earlier, I'm starting to be a little afraid because this is happening a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And on the outside maybe I'm holding it together, but this is starting to freak me out.
Okay. So as you set her down and take stock of the situation for just a second, what are you doing? Where are you going? What's going on?
Mafuyu. I'm gonna put my hand, wave it in front of her to see if she can respond.
Soft cook.
What?
Dice. Giger. So much blood.
Is there anyone in the main area besides me and him? You said a couple patrons.
Yeah, there's a couple people going in and out.
None of ours in the main area?
Artemis is behind the counter a ways away working on the counter at this point, just doing patronly things. If you'd like to grab his attention, you can.
Artemis.
Yeah, he comes over and says, "What can I help with?" And it looks down and sees Mafuyu and immediately comes down there. He says, "What happened? Everything was fine a second ago."
I don't know. I found her like this, but I need you to keep an eye on her.
Of course, I've got it. And
okay.
And it immediately kneels down and just starts talking to you quietly, trying to ascertain what's happened and what your status is.
I'm going to catch back up with Dow.
Okay. I'll slip into that. So Dow, interestingly enough, you pull... do you have a headband that you keep on you at all times now?
It's his scarf. He pulls it up over his eyes.
You take your scarf and lift it up, essentially blinding yourself, and see nothing. You know exactly where Dice is. You know exactly where Giger is, and everybody in this tavern. There is no creature there.
And Giger and Dice are both, I guess, stationary, right?
Yes.
I'm going to walk towards Giger, as I'm pretty sure I cannot lift Dice.
Mm-hmm.
You could try.
Well, yeah.
And I'm going to slowly try to put him over my shoulder.
Okay. Giger, you have had a day. Just a day, my guy. You started out this morning not feeling your best. At this point, you're injured. You've been aging all day at 50 to 100 times the normal rate. You are old. The last thing you remember is being prostrate in front of nothing. Committing this act upon yourself to try to save your life. And when you come to, you feel yourself in the air and over the shoulder of your companion, Dao, who you've spent some time with at this point, or pretty familiar with. But Dao, where are you going right now?
I'm gonna try and get him out of the tavern to get fresh air.
Okay. Giger, as the world slowly fades into existence for you, you feel everything moving. And then feel the rush of cold outside air as you are pulled out of the tavern. Dice, with all of this going on, what are you doing?
I think the first thing Dice would do is use their Eyes of the Grave. So 30 feet, anything Dice considers to be abominations pop up.
Okay.
I can't imagine that pulls up anything in this moment.
Well, that's
I think
fun and feisty question, isn't it?
fun and feisty question.
Let me double check one quick thing while you're doing that.
Okay. And then I think Dice would try to take stock of the room the best they can, see if anything's significantly out of place, how real all of these illusions seem to be before they kind of pass. And first and foremost, like, make sure Giger's alive and kicking.
First of all, it's almost as if whatever was here quickly fades away. You're not quite sure like how that is achieved. But there is no physical abomination here.
Okay.
There is some residual energy that you can feel. Just a sense of just uncomfortability and unease. But as far as like a physical entity being here, no. Giger, for the most part, seems unconscious as he's being lifted up and moved out of the building. But he's breathing, and you imagine he will probably be fine, but you don't have confirmed status of him right now.
Okay.
Everything in this room is like slowly fading back to normal, though. And at this point, Ando rushes in. I would imagine you're pretty stressed out at this point, Ando.
Yeah, I'm a little huffy and puffy, but do I smell anything?
Do you smell
when I walk
anything?
in here? Yeah, do I smell
What a
anything
question.
different?
What a question. You smell copper, obviously. Because there's still a little bit of blood on the floor, just from where all of this occurred. That very much is not an illusion. You smell Giger was here. And a little bit of tobacco smoke. Other than that, you don't smell anything specific. Is there something that you're specifically smelling for?
Yeah, the wet dog. The wet dog smell that's kind of been following me, based on the hair I pulled out of my mouth.
That smell? No.
Okay.
No, that is not present in this moment. This is something very different.
I assume I probably saw Ando take away Mafuyu.
Yeah.
Ando, where'd you put her? Where'd you take her? Where's she going?
She's with Artemis. She'll be
Oh,
all
okay.
right. She's talking, but not much.
Dice is gonna zoom over to Mafuyu to see how she's doing.
Mafuyu, you've spent a couple minutes now with Artemis, just slowly like talking you through everything. And I actually, the way Artemis is, I feel like he deals with this a little bit, or at least knows how to. And he's taken the past few moments he's had with you to just reinforce that you're safe and you're okay. You're in the Adventurers Hall. He tells you everything is going to be fine. You are in safe hands. I don't know where you're at. I don't know what you've been through, but you're safe now. Everything will be fine. And as this fog slowly starts to peel away, with time, I would say that you would have some form of an awareness of where you are, but you wake up and your party is not there. And then about this time is when they start coming back to check on you and make sure that you're okay.
Mafuyu, are you all right? I mean, that room was terrifying. How are you feeling?
Where's Giger?
Where's Giger? Giger is he's all right. Dow's got him right now. They're going outside for a bit.
Was that Zothkug?
Maybe something that looked like him.
Is he dead? Were you able to bring him back?
Giger's not gone. He's still here. He's just outside for a bit. He's still with us.
What was that? there was blood, and Giger was dead.
All I can say is that it was it wasn't real. It wasn't really there. After you left, it started to go away, and Giger was Giger again, and the walls are shiny clean. Sometimes I think creatures like Zothcook like to play with the mind a bit, and I don't know if it was there before we got there or there because we did walk in. But either way, it's gone now. He's all right, as much as he can be, I suppose.
And I'm gonna quickly kind of get up onto my knees and like hug Dice, crying. I'm sorry. I couldn't do anything.
Hey, you ain't got to apologize for nothing. For nothing. That is a lot of things we deal with this party. They don't teach you no books or nothing, and no one's supposed to tell you how to deal with it.
I wish I was stronger.
Hey, you're here. You're here right now. Your sister's here right now because of you. And we've gotten this far because all of us have been together and have been strong together. That includes you. That includes you. You are not weak. You are strong, just like the rest of us. And I never doubted that for a minute. And Dice is just gonna hold Mafuyu and kind of rock back and forth and start to hum a tune.
Giger, you start to come to as Dao leaves the building with you just slung over his shoulder. And for you, let's start with a Constitution saving throw. With a 13, you wake up, and if memory serves, last session you had a stout tea that Artemis provided to give yourself energy to move forward. As you wake up, you feel this tea surging through you, like waking up from a nap after having a cup of coffee, and that caffeine is just going. And it's almost this shock that you're groggy, and then everything is gone. And you are awake, alert, you are on Dao's back, you are outside. You don't know how you got there, but that is where you are. So let's dive into that and see kind of where this goes.
Did she bring me outside? I was napping.
That nap was a choice of yours, Captain?
It's a necessity.
How are you feeling?
Awake. But old. But awake.
I mean,
A little bit better, maybe.
maybe there was something to the fresh air then, Captain. You feeling good enough to take a walk?
I suppose.
Well, let's maybe walk around the city, see if we can find you a delicious, meaty snack. Get you back in good spirits. I'll let our group know.
I really do need to get back to meditating soon, though.
I understand, but you and I both know that sometimes some fresh air and a moment away does wonders for the mind.
suppose.
And
As Mafuyu always says, I'm more agreeable after I have a snack.
aren't we all? And I'll poke my head in and let the group know that Giger and I are going to go on a very short walk. We'll be right back.
This is agreeable.
And besides, there's more I wanted to talk to you specifically about, Captain.
Well, and I will do what I can. I am feeling somewhat better.
We can talk about the things on my agenda at a later time. And Dao's gonna hand you his short sword that he's been carrying on his hip ever since you've known him, as you see that he now has a longer sword. And he'll hand you the short sword and go, I understand that your powers are a little bit here and there. This has served me well in defending myself. Hopefully it can do the same for you, Captain.
I appreciate the gesture. It is not a light thing to do. A soldier does not just give one a sword. Thank you.
This is a family sword of mine, and, well, Captain, you're family to me.
And I will dissect many beings with this sword for you, I promise.
Nothing will bring me greater joy.
So where are we going on this walk? What's our path?
Just to, like, your nearest, like, food street vendor. Just something nice and greasy to give to Giger.
Okay. The Adventurers Hall is right on the main road where it has all the markets. I'd imagine it's not very far, not very hard to find a vendor of such things. As you kind of like walk down the street, you see there's a couple people that have just like pop-up stalls. One of them selling some kind of like cooked meats that they're offering at a cheap rate that you can get for yourself and Giger. They'd ask for just a silver for the cooked meats.
I'll pay for him.
Yeah. You both receive some skewers of meat. And at this point, the sun's kind of starting to dip past about 3-4 o'clock, getting over towards about 4 or 5. Were there any of the moments that you wanted to have on this walk, or just slowly like make your way back towards?
Dao's gonna let Giger recuperate a little bit before bringing up the other topic. So, I have nothing else for this walk.
Okay. I'm gonna just stop that whole thing. That's awful.
Man.
I have to apologize. I have music going for the players that's disabled for the stream just because of licensing and stuff like that, and it went awry without me knowing it, which is really unfortunate because YouTube takedowns are what they are.
I thought it was great for the moment.
It was not great for the moment. It was not. It was kind of like a Russian thing.
It was perfect.
I barely heard
It was
March. Oh my gosh.
It was very anthemy. I had my hand over my heart and I was going to town. That was great.
I was going to say,
wonderful.
socialism increased by like 12%.
Well, I saw you dancing. I was like, what is, like, this is kind of a serious scene. So, like, what's going on? And then I heard, like, the very whispers of it because I have it very reduced on my side so that it doesn't go through the stream. And, yeah, so that just is what it is.
I was about ready to seize the means to my own production.
Anyway. And Giger, you both make your way back towards the Adventurers Hall. Giger, you're starting to feel a little bit more energized. You're not sure whether it's just the drink that you've had or like stuff starting to come back to you. You don't feel 100% yourself yet, but you feel a little bit better. As you guys kind of return back towards the Adventurers Hall, you see the rest of the group is kind of gathered towards the bar area, where I'd like to imagine that Artemis is still fretting just a little bit over Mafuyu to make sure that they're okay. But as we reconvene in the Adventurers Hall, what are we doing? Where are we going? What's our plan? You do have the meeting
How's-
with Magistrate Felben coming up. Go ahead.
No, that's what I was about to ask. I was about to ask how much time we had before then.
Not much time before then. I would say that meeting is probably set for about 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Giger, I saw you raise your hand. Was this intentional? Okay.
No, I was either I'm also checking. Sorry, my partner is actually out driving right now, checking to make sure that they're all right. So,
it is about time to head for that meeting. If you guys had any other moments that you wanted to do beforehand, this is a good time for them. Otherwise, we can transition into that.
I guess Dice would just make sure that Mafuyu is like fully calmed down and aware of everything, even before we left for Felben's. Like, is willing to be late to the meeting with the magistrate to make sure Mafuyu is all right.
Everyone's back at the inside.
Yes, your companions have just walked in at this point.
Gotcha. So I would think Mafuyu, the moment, because up until that moment she hasn't seen Giger. The last image in her head was that he was dead, and I mean, Dice was saying that he was alive, but she hasn't seen it. So I think at the point that she sees Giger walk in, she's going to kind of run to him and just hug him and say, like, "You're alive."
Giger is like stiff as a board. He does not know how to respond to this kind of affection still. So, as this is a very nice gesture, and he doesn't necessarily have ill will towards Mafuyu. He will not attack, but he will just grimacing. I am for now. Are you trying to tackle me?
Sorry. Knowing full well, like, he doesn't do hugs. Sorry. I just thought you were dead. But I'm happy that you aren't. Kind of crying, like, ugly crying of trying to rub off her tears type of thing. Just, she's overwhelmed knowing that he is alive, even though she knows that he's probably still going to die. She's just happy that he didn't die quite yet.
Give him an hour. So as this moment ends, and there's a moment of peace as we realize that Giger hasn't quite died or succumbed to this, and that this was mostly an illusion through some means or another. What are we doing?
Last thing I want to do in here is I just want to pull Artemis to the side and Mafuyu tell you everything that went on in there.
Artemis shakes his head and says, "No, my concern was making sure that she was okay. I didn't press for any details. I figured it'd be better not to relive the moment. What happened?"
Trail of blood seems to follow us wherever we go, as you no doubt seem to know now. Now, it seems to be an illusion, but I would get that room checked out just because that's a bad review. But it's us, so it's okay. But there's a little real blood on the floor, so here's the silver.
I will have that looked into straight away and see if I can get one of the clerics to take a peek around the room just to see if there's anything out of sorts.
Yeah, I'd turn that upside down.
Would be par for the course. He gives a bit of a smile, trying to make a ghost joke at you. But he says, for real, I will look into that and see if there's anything that needs to be done there.
All right.
In the meantime,
as
is everything okay?
Well, just one day at a time, Artemis. I think time will tell.
True enough. If you need anything, I will be here.
Thank you. And I'd like to walk towards the entrance and kind of give the counter a quick rub play. As I walk towards it. Just
checking for dust.
Yeah, dust.
It's clean, dude. He's a D&D innkeeper. He's got nothing better to do than wash glasses and wipe counters. That's all innkeepers in Dungeons & Dragons ever do. Period. It's a rule. But no, the counter itself is decently clean. You like wipe the counter and I think you said you left a silver for the mess.
Yeah.
You kind of like walk out and rejoin the group. He immediately goes over there to just like see what the state of the room is, because you've just described not great for his little inn. But you rejoin the party, and the floor is for your party.
Well, I suppose we're going to see the magistrate right about soon. That feels a bit odd about after what just happened. But I suppose life goes on as usual right here. I suppose it's a tea party. I don't...
Okay. Gathering up your companions, everyone makes their way down the main road of Azeroth, towards the town center where you know the Imperial Temple stands. Make your way in past the massive statue that's in the very center of the main hall. And immediately, a couple of guards come up and say, "What is your business here?" You explain what you're there for, and they nod and say, "Just a moment," and disappear down a hallway. You're left there for a couple of minutes before, very quickly, you have another one of the guards come forward and say, "The magistrate will be with you in just a moment. If you'd like, you can come upstairs and wait in the entry until he's ready. I think he had a couple of things he wanted to have prepared before your meeting. But if you'd follow me," and kind of gestures you all towards that way. I will do this as the thunder rolls behind me. You're left waiting for the better part of maybe 5-6 minutes before the door opens. You see the familiar form of Magistrate Felben. He says, "It's good to see you all again. Welcome back to Azeroth, it seems. Come in. And he beckons all of you into his decently appointed room. It's not quite lush, but you can tell it's designed for someone that's a higher member of society. He keeps it a little bit Spartan with bookshelves on both of the side walls, and then a couple of paintings to decorate the main space with a small window just showing and looking over the main square of Azeroth. And he bids you sit on a set of couches in the center of the room. He says,
"Is he in his casual wear or his formal wear?"
At this point in the day, he's still in his formal wear.
Okay. Well, I guess it didn't deter Dice any. Dice being Dice, sees Magistrate Felben. "Well, howdy, Exon. It's been a minute," and then goes in for the hug.
He like awkwardly hugs, trying to like not act like it's not weird. He's like, "It's good to see you too, Dice and everyone. Quickly, come in." And tries to like get you guys like out of the hallway and into his office, and just kind of like shepherd this awkward flock inside and away from prying eyes. As you like enter the room, you can see that he already has like a tea set out, with just a couple different varieties. He's got like 2 pots going. He says, "I have a couple of varieties of tea and a couple of pastries I thought you would enjoy. But if you sit down, let's talk, let's chat, and see what's happened. Obviously, your mission was a success."
Yes, that's correct. We were able to get to the mountain. We did not see any smoke. There was a sort of large earthquake, after which everything seemed to be calm. Otherwise, everything that occurred was fairly normal to our group.
You were gone for several days. Did anything untoward happen?
As you can see, one of our members did have a bit of an experience with their deity.
I was going to ask. There is a slight change. I mean, I'm assuming I've never met another granite folk before. I'm curious where and how and what happened there.
We were walking around the mountains and such, and I was in a place, and then I met my lady, everyone keeps telling me that she don't exist anywhere, but she really does, I swear. And and like Dice's hands like start like kind of like flittering, like flapping at their sides.
Giger is going to hold his hand up and put his hand on Dice's shoulder and just give Dice this look that says, no.
Giger, can you reach Dice's shoulder?
Maybe not. Maybe just like up to Dice's elbow.
Okay.
This is like 5'2", so it's not impossible.
It'd be like the upper limits of Giger. Yeah, Giger's only 3'1".
Giger is very small.
Very small.
You're a small boy.
The pokey small boy.
So Dice takes a deep breath. So I met the lady and we had a chat about the end of the world. I don't quite remember all of it. And then something inside of me said that I can make myself look different now. And so now it looked like a lady. Not the lady. I don't look like the lady. But I look like a lady. And yep. I'm still Dice. I don't know if that was apparent.
A lot to unpack there.
Yes, you'll have to forgive my friend. She does go on.
Where to start here? First of all, let's have some tea. And he like pours himself a glass, and his hand is like shaking just a little bit. He's like, now you'll have to forgive me. I was under the impression that you were a boy.
Define boy for me. I mean, I guess I don't really quite know the difference. People are just people, right? I mean, I'm made of a rock, and y'all aren't.
I take your point. We'll unpack that later. So this, okay. You had an experience with your lady.
Yes, sir.
deity.
I met her in the flesh.
In the flesh.
In the rock.
In the rock, as it were. What is their name again?
My lady's name is the lady. I mean, I always called her the lady beyond the grave, but I guess she calls herself the gray lady sometimes.
Well, that's another thing that I don't understand. But I think that there's much about you that I don't understand, Dice. And frankly, I think that that's fine. And he invites everyone. He's like, please have some tea. As he kind of sits back and like props one leg up. And he kind of looks at everyone and says, so you all agree with this description of events?
Although Dice's recollection is very scattered.
Yes. I mean, it was pretty uneventful, except for the whole one moment Dice walked away and came back looking like what they do now.
Can I just get a deception check at disadvantage?
For all of us, or just
any person can give this. I want to group one. I want to group one because your story has a couple of little holes in it.
So no lies.
The audience. So what they're saying is kind of true, but they're keeping out the fact that they met an entire different race of people that technically doesn't exist, but does. But the Empire doesn't know that they exist, and they're trying to keep that a secret. And their deity is one of their deities, not an Imperial one. With a 14, because I used the first roll. You see him. Right. Okay. So, first things first. There was an earthquake that solved the problem of the earthquakes. And through the earthquake, you determined that the old volcano is not active.
No, you misunderstand, Magistrate. I apologize. I have not been feeling myself. There was a large earthquake, though we know not where it came from, after which everything seemed to be calm. We didn't observe the volcano with any smoke or fire. Therefore, we took it to not be active. We were around the area for several days, as you said. And after all the observations we could find, there's nothing that told us that anything was wrong with the mountain. It seems it is quiet. Our party member did have a spiritual experience, and I apologize if we have been, shall we say, vague on that. However, it is a spiritual experience, Magistrate. This is a private thing between Dice and their god. You understand, of course.
Of course, I take your point. I am curious, Dice, if you're willing to share
Sir.
this idea of the end of the world.
Yes, sir.
A little curious on that point. Were there specifics? As a member of a political office, I'm sure you can understand my intrigue in potential cataclysm.
My lady is a lady of fate, and not only of just our individual fates, but the fate of everything else as well, and maybe our individual fates turn into one big one. I am a being of fate, just like the rest of y'all, and she was talking to me about what was going to happen, about what she dictated fate was going to be, and something about it's too much for one soul to handle at a time, which is a lot of the reason why I can't remember much about anything really before me. This me and kind of knocks on their chest. This body. I remember that there was going to be a lot of bad coming, but with a lot of bad, there was going to be a lot of good as well. And I don't know how exactly it's going to turn out in the end, but I have the faith that we're going to be all right.
And your Lady of Fate was not keen on specifics. From whence the bad came, dates, times, things to look out for, signs.
My lady knows exactly what's going to go on. I just can't remember it all. This noggin can't hold all that information, and I had it, and then I didn't, and that's just how it was going to be. If I was supposed to know all that information, then I would have remembered it when I left, sir. I'm sorry I can't be more help, but
Admittedly, I'm a little saddened that you don't have more specific details on this. just for the sake of the city as a whole, preparing it for whatever is to come, if anything. Not to doubt the power of your deity, just without any information, we can't really prepare defenses and countermeasures, if you will. But I suppose if it is the will of your deity, as you see it, then it will sort itself out.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it goes. She knows what's going to happen, and we're just along for the ride, I suppose. I mean, whatever you decide you're going to prepare based on this information is just going to be fate driving itself forward for what's to come.
I suppose that in this particular situation, we will have to move forward with the little information that we do have, as we always would have. I am personally not one to trust the whims and wills of gods and their like, but you have a steadfast faith, and I can appreciate that. So while I hope your visions do not come to pass, I will be mindful and keep my eyes open. In the meantime, did you have any other word or updates or information? I know you were interested in visiting Frostvale. Did you make the trip?
Oh, we didn't end up going up there.
I see. I would like to express that per your guidance and inspiration, we have dispatched a few riders up there to act as an envoy to start setting up lines of communication between our settlements, which should hopefully push back the frontiers, as it were. There are some still necessarily uninhabitable areas of this continent, but with dedication and time, I'm sure we can see them populated. He leans back and takes a drink. He says, "So your trip was otherwise uneventful?"
Dice will kind of look towards Mufuyu, and kind of raise an eyebrow, should we mention your sister?
You're muted, my guy.
Hey, Giger is going to just kind of lean in. There were some eventful things that were just more personal business, nothing of a nature that you would need to worry about, sir.
Business? Have you started a new enterprise?
Not exactly. However, I believe we have come together as a adventuring party and have officially dubbed ourselves the Stone Dogs.
I have heard this from Artemis. Quite an interesting title. Where does it come from?
Oh, our buddy Ando came up with it. He's real smart like that.
And then at that, I'm going to. So for those listening at home, Ando used to belong to a tribe of orcs on the mountains, and I would like to think he's never had tea before. So he's about to take first drink, based off what Perce just said. So I take it, but I'm going to take a big old gulp. I'll spit it right back in. I go, yeah. Tea.
I apologize, not quite to your liking.
Oh no, it's good, right? Right? I'm gonna look there.
I mean, I don't know if it makes you feel better. I can't quite taste anything. And Dice will drink some of the tea. That tastes like leaf water to me. I don't know if that's what tea's supposed to taste like.
Yeah.
Well, technically.
Sir, I do not require sustenance.
Anyway, Stone Dogs. Well, Dice Dice got me out of a pickle one time, and this was back when I first started traveling with them, and well, I was searching for something. I guess I still am, but maybe I found a little bit here with them. But she saved me, man, and I wanted to give something back. So I shared that name.
Well, I think it's a wonderful name. Stone Dogs it is, I suppose.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Are you just like spitting it back in the cup? Oh my god. Make a sleight of hand check. Make a sleight of tea check. Okay.
And that's the tea.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles. With an 11. You're not sure how effective your attempts at hiding your drinking skills are. But you watch as the magistrate kind of nods thoughtfully and says, well, it sounds like you've all grown as a party and as a group. I think the name is fitting. I'm glad to hear that you've just blossomed a bit, if you'll pardon the term. You seem like a good group with good intentions, and it brings me a little bit of joy. I'm glad there's still good groups like yours out and about. I know Artemis has been quite concerned of late with the diminishing number of adventurers out in the open world, and I'm just pleased to see everyone's fine and that your little adventure wasn't quite as devastating as it's been for others.
And how are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm fine. The duties of office have been a bit more extensive of late, with the whole issue with the Belloc debacle, as I will freely put it. His boy has been put into service per your request. I think we've been over that whole thing before, but it's a matter of learning who you can trust and who you can't, and maintaining order of a city that basically runs itself. I guess my biggest point of issue is carving my own niche in a city that, well, I think it runs fine on its own. There are good folk here. There are a few that I don't see quite eye to eye with, but they are their own issue. Azerot runs.
Well, I think you're good folk.
Well, I appreciate that. I certainly try. I know politicians aren't quite highly looked upon, so I try to do my best to change the perspective, such as things like this, and investing in the arts and the like businesses. But overall, I think the city is on the upward turn, especially after that whole mess. It's quiet. It's nice. I can deal with quiet.
The lady showed me your soul, and you're a good man. Just make sure you keep finding the good ones. I'd be amiss to have another Belloc show up somewhere.
As would I. That's not an incident that I would like to see repeated. While the Empire does pride itself in its freedoms, there are some freedoms I think we will all agree are best left untouched. Not untouched, I don't think that's the correct word, but there are some avenues that should not be tread, no matter how free you wish to be, personally. But I see the hour does grow late. Is there anything that, any questions that you had or information that you were needing? Anything I can assist with in your upcoming endeavors?
Could use another diamond.
What happened to the last one that you were provided with, that acted as your payment for the last mission?
Dice kind of like pulls their like head and shoulders together and kind of like slumps over a little bit. Unfortunately, I had to use it on our trip. It's everything's fine now. But it got consumed in a spell, sir, and so I ain't got one anymore. And I really could use another one. They're quite hard to come by.
They are very expensive dice.
Yes, sir.
And they are not easy to come by, no matter who you are. I cannot just give out diamonds, unfortunately. But if you ever need donuts at a birthday party, I can do something like that. Or if you need information, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, I'm asking you information about how to get a diamond, honestly.
I would purchase it personally. Please don't misunderstand. I fully support your endeavors, but I also know the value of hard work and the fruits that it provides. And I believe that if you apply yourself and practice your trade, you will come by the funds that you need. I unfortunately cannot just provide another diamond, however.
Yes, we understand completely. Thank you for your patience in explaining this matter.
What we're here for.
Dice just kind of like does the teenage thing, kind of like rolls their eyes and looks towards the party and like, God, like be that way then. Not realizing that the magistrate can definitely see them do this.
I don't think he's going to even act on it. Well, go ahead.
If we're asking for information, does the city keep tabs or track on any of the orc clans that roam?
The orc clans? No. As far as the Empire is aware, they steer clear of any remaining orcs after the Orc War. Something caught your interest?
Oh, I don't, like I said earlier, I used to have to run with some of them for certain reasons growing up, but I'm just wondering if you happen to know of any.
Or, if I may also interject, anything of the Silent Wood.
I know a small amount about the Silent Wood. I would recommend, Ondo, and please don't misunderstand my point. I would be cautious digging into orc camps and lineages. While I don't think anyone is predisposed to harm or hurt, our history with the orcs has been a tainted one. And there is a great amount of fear there on all sides, including my own, if I'm honest. I would just advise caution. I do not have any information regarding the orc tribes. It's not something that I've looked into. Interestingly, there hasn't even been a peep about them, which is in itself somewhat suspicious. But as far as any information, I don't have them. I don't have it, if you will. And Dao, you're asking about the Silent Wood?
I am.
I mean, I can tell you that it's outside the crossroads, and it's a rather extensive forest that's typically recommended to be untraveled. It has been previously a great source of ingredients for potions and magical viscera. It's not regularly traveled. What's your interest?
Well, I've heard a good many tale about the Silent Wood, and I believe we are to help a local shopkeep recover the bodies of a missing party that were there.
I see.
And with the Silent Wood being as mysterious as it is dangerous, I figured we should get any information we can find.
I see. Fortunately, I'm not very familiar with the Silent Wood. It's outside of my specific jurisdiction. However, I do know that there have been a number of incursions into the wood that have gone poorly. I would advise the utmost caution and attentiveness to your craft if you venture that way. I know that there was once an attempt to have a military stronghold there, that, if memory serves, went poorly. I mean, it is a legend, but there's a measure of truth.
So poorly, in fact, that it's never been found again.
If the legend is to be believed. I believe all legends have a measure of truth, but they've been, as you can imagine, overblown. Odds are there was some kind of an attack, the stronghold was overrun, and left to rot. Which, I mean, Hawkins technically back to the point about the Orc clans and why we don't keep track. After such a dreadful war with them, the stalemate that we reached was tentative at best, and so it's more of a matter of not so much non-aggression as it is just cautious awareness that the other party exists. I hope I haven't made you uncomfortable, although I realize this is probably a very sensitive subject.
It is. It's difficult being torn between two worlds sometimes. Felben, your people have been good to me here in this city, but it's while you may feel whole, I feel a longing to understand more, and I will take your heed, but I can't say that I won't go searching for knowledge.
I wouldn't ask that you don't go searching. We all have our draws and our interests, and I believe Dice would agree, our fate to follow. There's a path for each and every one of us, and perhaps it is that yours lies with understanding more of your history and your people. While I'm glad to hear that the people here have been good to you, I understand that you have family. I would assume. I'm not entirely certain. I don't know your full history. But I'd assume that there's a measure of family that you seek, just as any orphan, if you'll pardon the term, would want to know. Again, I'm making generalized terms here, but there's a part of your history that's missing that you want information on. And I think that's entirely valid. I wouldn't ask that you not look into that. I would just advise that you be cautious during that search and be cautious of who you involve.
Well, if there's anyone who can help me find it, this crew can.
I agree. And you've all shown a remarkable resilience towards the world and what some would consider the fate of adventurers thus far. So if anyone will find this information or can find it, I believe that you can, and you have my full belief and support. As long as you're cautious. And he gives like this little half smile.
I guess I'll try the other tea.
Yeah, the other one's like a green tea. That's probably not any better for Anda's tastes. But it's a little bit more earthy.
It is a little bit more earthy. I'm actually going to swallow.
Okay. Yeah, you down. It's starting to cool down at this point, so it's not even like hot anymore. It's like warm, but depending on how Aldo likes it, it could be a better fit than like the oolong that would have been the other one.
Oh yeah, not a long.
More like no long. I
Oolong.
like oolong though, so deal with it. You see,
Oolong.
the magistrate kind of like lean back a little bit and say, "Well, I'm glad that we had this chat. Truth be told, I was interested in seeing how things have gone and making sure that everyone is okay. So I'm glad to hear that you all arrived safe. I understand there's some construction going on in your dwelling, which I hope is going well. But unless you had anything else that you were curious about, I don't mean to turn you out, but I don't mean to take your whole evening either."
We appreciate your time. I believe, unless anyone else had anything, we will take our leave. Kind of gesture to the rest of the party.
Well, then I wish you the best, and I hope to see you again soon. Perhaps we can have another get-together like this one, and hash it out, as it were.
Indeed. And if you ever do need anything, our services are plainly demonstrated. Please contact us.
You can be certain that I will. And if that need arises, I have full faith in your abilities, and look forward to your assistance. I'm certain
We've
the time
come
will
so far.
You said that as Giger?
Yes.
He kind of smiles a bit and he says, "You have, and it's evident. Even just the demeanor that you have as a group has changed drastically since the last we spoke, and that was only a number of weeks ago at this point. It's interesting how quickly adventurers can grow and change, especially in a world that seems almost stale at times. It's nice to see." He kind of like stands up and says, "Well, if there's nothing else, I bid you all good evening. I have a little bit of work to finish up this night, but I assume I'll see you in town. Likely you'll be here for a couple days at least, resting and recuperating."
I believe we are leaving tomorrow.
"Oh, quite soon then. Safe travels, I suppose. You'll be traveling with this shopkeeper that you've spoken of, or for them.
Indeed.
Anything I should be mindful of while you're away?"
If you could check up on our house every 2 weeks if we do not make it back by then, just make sure that things are running smoothly. I'm sure we would all greatly appreciate that. Yes? And he'll look around to the group, making sure he didn't overstep.
If that would be exceptionally kind if you could.
I don't think that should be an issue. And I can send some guards every now and then just to make sure that everything is fine, especially if the house will be unoccupied. Yeah, I don't believe that should be an issue.
Our servants are there as well as a family member. So
a family member. Interesting. I didn't realize you'd had another one. Well, that's not an issue at all. Your home. I'll still have the guards stop by every now and then just to make sure that everything's fine. If you at least let them know so that it's not this uncomfortable situation. As long as nothing illegal is going on, it should be fine, right? But I will have them stop by every now and then just to make sure that everything is going smoothly. But if you have servants and a family member there, I imagine that it would go just fine, correct?
Indeed, but in our line of work, with all due respect, sir, things get weird.
I suppose that is fair. I have seen things get weird many times before. I will have my people check in every now and then. He kind of like stands up and kind of like shuffles towards the edge of the couch where like the table is ending. Says, if there's nothing else, then I will bid you all good evening. as I said, I have a number of other things to attend to. So, but it has been wonderful to enjoy another serving of tea with you. So, thank you all for your time and for coming and for honoring my whims, if you will.
As we're leaving, can I kind of judge just from his body language or maybe just his tone how much of this he bought?
Yeah, make an insight check.
You just upset the kitty very much, so
I
hopefully
did?
this is good.
Oh, because you moved?
Yes.
With a 16. It's a very good roll. You can tell, I will say, that he knows there's more going on. 100%. But he's also trying to walk this line where he knows that you're valuable and won't push far enough to upset you.
Gotcha.
So while he knows that there's more going on, unless he sees it as an issue, he's not going to push. So he knows that other stuff happened, and this whole God thing is interesting. You can tell that he was kind of 50-50 on that, especially with a non-sanctioned, non-imperial deity that apparently existed and changed the form of a creature that also shouldn't exist. Very interesting. He hasn't lied about anything, but he's definitely using your party as an ace in the hole if anything happens. And so
Gotcha.
he's definitely being political in the way that he's handling things.
So right now we're still useful. That's good, at least.
Yeah. I mean, he's not. I wouldn't say that he's doing it even in a bad way.
Right.
It's just that
he's not. Yeah, he's not being ruthless about it. He's just. It's just how politics works.
Yeah, you're useful, and so he's catering to you. He does not have tea parties with everybody. And he says it's his whims, but he knows whose whims he's catering to. Dice's.
As he should.
Well. I don't know.
I mean, the tea parties might be working because I did not murder anyone in the city since the last one.
You haven't even kidnapped anybody.
Honestly,
there haven't really been any children.
Ample opportunity to kidnap everybody.
You had at least an opportunity to kidnap a child, because you know for a fact that the boy is in the Adventurers Hall. So like you've always got a prime target right there. Also,
well, we've already talked, Kyle.
Dow, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault, but he may or may not have taken a child hostage in 2 opportunities. 2? I think it's 2. It's 2 at this point, isn't it?
Well, no, 2. I took the one child hostage, but that was for leverage. The other one I tied up for his own safety.
Well,
the other one
that makes
just lightly tapped, and then his head fell in half.
One of them attacked Giger. If I didn't tie that child up, Giger would have killed him.
I suppose.
For his safety. And then dressing up like his mother was its own thing.
Oh, God. You can't just bust that without context.
That was Miss Doubtfire.
This is Dow.
You tied up a child, then dressed like his mom. It's totally normal stuff for Dungeons and Dragons. Welcome to the party, everyone. The sad thing is, it's not abnormal. Like, this is just the stuff that happens when you're in a campaign like this. But diving back into the scene,
are we headed back to the Adventurer Hall or our house?
I don't know. Are you?
I'm asking the party.
Question.
Answer.
Yeah.
How long is it going to be until the supposed party that Dice is throwing is supposed to happen?
I don't know that you set a time.
It was supposed to be later in the evening after they got everything set up. I don't know how specific Artemis would have been with that.
You don't know how specific Artemis would have been with that. When would you like to show up to the party?
It's like what, 6 now, roughly?
It's been like an hour and a half, 6:37.
Okay, I'll give it till about 8 until I start ushering everyone over. I realize I have literally not told anyone what's going on except for Fiune. So, this will be an interesting thing for everybody else as well.
I wanted to do some light shopping. The magistrate just gave us gold, didn't he?
No, you guys are paid in advance.
Oh, that's right. I want to use that money.
You want to spend that money? Okay, let's spend that money.
Spend my
hey,
dough.
what are you?
I'm looking for an artisan mask shop.
Okay. I heard a peep from Ondo as well.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I threw something in to that conversation with Felben, and it was meant to be somewhat leading, and I just wanted to see if I could perceive any sort of understanding on his face. When we were talking about, finding orc clans, I said, if anyone can help me find them, this Karoo can.
Oh, I caught it.
Oh yeah.
But I thought it was funny, but he didn't respond to that at all.
Good. Okay.
He would not know what that is.
Well, that's what I was trying to find out without saying too much. So, okay.
And even breaking like mysterious DM things, he does not know what that is.
Sure.
So he does not have the response. Because I chuckled as Kyle, your ever-present dungeon master, but he did not.
Maybe that was leaning into Thieves Can't, but I just wanted to play it. So
listen, I caught it and I like it. I thought it was not intentional, and so I was like, "That's funny. I see what you did there." But no, he didn't. He doesn't respond to that, unfortunately. So, anyone else have anything that they want to shop for? Cool. Dow, so first of all, are you explaining to everyone that you're just gonna like branch off and shop, or is this gonna be like the whole party is going to like a store with you?
I'm gonna say, I am gonna buy an artisan mask. Don't know what I'm looking for yet. Anyone's more than welcome to come.
I will accompany you on this. Maybe some more fresh air would do me good.
I'll probably head out back to the chateau. I think I need to figure things out with Biune.
Before you do that, quick question, Mifuyu. What color palette do you think would go best with my normal outfit?
I mean, red is pretty much a great color on you.
Red. Understood. Thank you. Captain, and I'll turn and start walking.
I'll just go ahead and follow right after him.
Okay. You have a couple choices, Sweet Prince. You have, for things of this sort, you have a jewelry store called the Finery. You have the Petty Pawn General Store, and there is also a blacksmith called Yavanna's Shield. Where you go is up to you. Probably the best bets are going to be either Yavanna's Shield or the Finery, depending on kind of like the vibe you're going for.
I was probably going to go to the blacksmith because I want the mask to also be functional.
Okay, well, let's dive into that then. So you make your way to Yavanna's Shield. And I've described this before. This was originally two shops that were side by side, but the owner bought both of them and just demolished one and made an open air forge that's just fenced in with a slight wall so that you can't see quite what's going on. But as you go in, you see that there's armor all along the walls and weapons and things of that sort. But you walk up to the counter and see that there's a large, like, built blonde lady working the forge, and she turns around and like hands her thing she was working on to one of the apprentices which is a younger lad with a thick like leather apron. And she says, "Well, yeah, what can I do for you?"
Hail, I am looking for a battle mask, if you will.
Something like a helmet.
Specifically to cover the front of my face.
How so?
Like almost a steel plate flattened into an oval.
It's not quite effective for a battle mask.
I just need
a dinner plate over your face. You'd cover your eyes. Do you want like?
Yes, that's actually my only specification. it must cover my eyes.
Right.
Giger is going to drop jaw just like.
Now, I would like it to look pretty and not weigh a ton.
Right. So what you're looking for is
Yes.
a battle mask to wear into combat.
Yes.
For armor to cover your face and eyes.
I do not believe we are misunderstanding each other. You seem right on it.
No, I'm still confused, but I think I understand what you want.
I'll jiggle my gold pouch. Is this more the language I need to be speaking?
I mean, no, it's not a matter of whether or not I can do it for you. I absolutely can. For something of this nature, you're probably looking at about 10 to 15 gold pieces, depending on kind of the options we're looking at. 20 at the absolute max. Let's have a chat and see what we can come up with.
Yes, let's. What selections of alloys do you have here?
Most of what we do is either steel or an alloy of such. Is there a specific color palette that you're working with that would be better for the base?
I was told red. They'll say just beaming.
Red what?
Make the metal red.
We could accommodate that with something of a paint that could be a bit flashier. So your current outfit, if I recall correctly, is like a dark, like military style uniform?
Yes, it's I believe it's navy blue.
Okay. So she'll say, what we can do, what kind of vibe are you going for? I'm looking at for accent colors and things like that. We could definitely do the red, but I'm trying to customize, make it a bit flashy.
Something not insanely flashy, not like the face of an Oni, but maybe something closer that has maybe finer detail, something softer to look at. Maybe animalistic in a sense.
And do you want your eyes covered?
Yes, I need them to be actually.
All right.
Should save you time, yes?
What I'm thinking of doing here is actually making a clay mold and pouring into it to get the exact design that we're looking for. So my vision for this, I'll probably use black as a base. Unless you prefer white, I could do like a brighter metal or a darker metal, or we could just do steel, which would be like a nice reflective silver. And then, I mean, if you want to get into silvers and golds, we can do that as well, but I don't think it would match quite as well. And then what I would recommend is some kind of a painted raised accent piece to cover the eyes. To accentuate the fact that they're covered, because if that's your goal, then I want to make sure people know it.
Captain, what do you think? White base or black base?
Are you completely mad?
He's right. Let's go with the black base.
All right, so what we could do there, we could do a dark tempered steel. What we could do with that is if we mixed a couple of extra ingredients, we could make it like a dark, non-reflective coating. Otherwise, if you like, we could do a brighter reflective coating.
Non-reflective would probably be best.
Right, so we could do that. Ooh, how do you feel about fire?
Love it.
All right. So what I'm going to do is we'll cast it, and it'll be a nice reflective base to start. Let me finish first. And your head's going wild, I can tell. Then we're going to quench it and get it just right, so it has this coating that'll be a nice, almost powdery finish to it that will make it not reflect. Then we could take some painted accents and do something. I'd imagine like maybe streaks up the eyes, coming up towards the center. We could make like an upside down Y shape or something of that nature to kind of bring in the red without making it an overbearing like target upon your face. Or we could just do the eyes too.
Would you be able to incorporate? I said something animalistic. Would you be able to maybe base the design off of that of a bull?
Bull. Well, there's a couple of special orders that we've done for soldiers for more decorative armor that incorporates almost animalistic mouth guards. We could do something like that and start with an ox base, and then I could use that to get actually a pretty quick impression in the clay, and then build the top of the mask off of that. How would you want the coloration to be with that in mind?
The same color palettes if we can. The
Well,
black and the red.
Aye, so what we could do, we could have the black powder coating and then have just red coming from the eyes, or red, we could do a red stripe all the way across. That could be cool.
Sounds lovely.
Great. Well, I will start working on the prototype for that. Do you have an ETA that you need it by?
Oh, Captain, when do you think we'll be back?
Thank you.
Take us however long you need to finish it and deliver it to this house, and I'll put our address down.
Right, I can do that. Let's agree on 10 gold up front, and then for any additional pieces, you're looking at no more than 20 total. So we'll do the other half when it's delivered. Is that fair?
I will give you 50 gold right now if you promise that only your hands will touch it.
I can do that.
All right, and I'll plop 50 gold down.
You said 50 gold.
50.
Okay, yeah. She says, only my hands will touch it, and I will design and implement the design myself to make sure that it is the highest of quality.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Is there anything else you're looking for while you're here?
No, Captain? Oh!
Yes, his sanity. He's clearly lost his sanity.
Hold on.
I can understand taking payment for this, but are you insane, boy?
Yes, quite. Hold on, Captain. And I'm going to pull out 2 of the Jade Guard swords, because I picked up 2 of them, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Separate from my new sword. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to set them down and say, what do you think these would fetch for?
Well, these are, and she kind of like takes it up and like tests it, does like a couple test swings to test the heft of the blade. So they are very well crafted. Let me see about how much I could get those for you. Give me just a moment here as she checks the costs on a sword like that. She said I could probably do each of these for about 12 gold pieces to start. They are decent craftsmanship. If you're interested in a trade, I see you have one at your hip. Are you interested in something of a longer blade?
This one at my hip shall stay. If I will give you these 2 swords, if you could make a sign, a metal sign that says Stone Dogs, and put it at that same address.
Can do. You just want do you want like a nameplate or like a
like a placard?
A placard.
Like a placard.
And you want it out of metal?
Yes.
I can do that. I was going to say also, if the sword that you have is important to you, I don't mean to deprive you of that. I'm not offering that. But if you'd like, you'd be more than happy to craft swords to match the design and style. It wouldn't be the same design as your original sword, but we could get you something like a Tonto or an Odachi to get you some more variety in your weapons. Or to get a full decorative display if you're interested.
I will think about it. Thank you.
Of course. Take your time, no stress. I will work on the placard and have that delivered as soon as it's ready. I don't think it'll take very long. It's just a simple casting process. And then I will have the mask designed for you as soon as I can. I will take my time with it, though, to make sure it's of the finest quality and design, to make sure it fits your unique specifications.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Is there anything else you needed while you're here?
Nope. Captain?
I'm fine. I just don't understand. I am so lost right now. I apologize for my insane friend.
Oh, no.
Thank you for...
An order is an order. You'd be surprised some of the stuff that people come up with, especially for decorative armor that's going to be just on display, which this, I won't assume what you're going to use it for, but something like this could be very nice looking on the wall. especially if you have something like an animal that you attribute yourself with. It'd be
Well,
cool.
I will be wearing it into battle, so it should be battle ready.
Of course, I will. We had previously discussed that, so I'll make sure that it is. Very unique style, but you do you as it is, as it were, and I will get this prepared for you.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. And she kind of like turns away and starts going up and has a quick word with the assistant, who she leaves with that, and then goes off into a back room and disappears, leaving them to like tend the counter and continue working on whatever she was crafting beforehand.
As we leave, I'll say, Captain, there's the one other thing I wanted to talk to you about. You seem to be in better spirits.
Is this about how you've lost your mind? First you take guard blindfolded, and now you intend to go into battle blindfolded.
Yes, and I intend to do this against the remaining entirety of the Jade Guard.
Oh.
So
you suggest slaughtering people? Yes.
I suggest giving the Jade Guard the honorable death they signed up for, which is more than they deserve. Captain, you and I both grew up around military culture, yes?
Indeed.
Do you remember hearing the stories of the Jade Guard? I remember hearing them when I was very young, just 6 or 7, and thinking that what those guards did was some of the most noble soldier work anyone could ever do. I remember wanting to join them so desperately. And then recently it's come to my attention that my family did work with them very closely, or at least with the Empire and a few of the Guard, but not in as much of a symbiotic relationship as I had previously thought. I know that our empire isn't as good as they pretended to be, but I know especially that that Jade Guard hides behind a title to get away with things that are nothing but nefarious and malicious. And so it's not that it's a revenge story, it's that it's the story of purging this evil from the Empire in hopes that we can become stronger and better and hold ourselves to higher standards. And I wanted to talk to you specifically about this because I know that as a fellow military man, you have also grown up with these experiences.
Yes, I am in. You had me at slaughtering people, Dow.
And I do genuinely want you to know that that sword I gave you is a gift that you may use however you please. It is not a way to get you to come with me or anything like that. But that's my new priority, Captain.
I appreciate. May I ask a favor of you?
Of course.
I have to go to the Silent Wood. It just so happens our next mission is going to go there as well. If at any point in our travels I become dangerous to the party because of the patron, run.
Understood.
This will not be pleasant.
Are you telling me that a nice vacation to the woods that no one knows anything about and no one ever returns from is not going to be pleasant, Captain? That sounds exactly like your kind of adventure.
Oh, this is true. I think more of Mafuyu now.
I would never discount Mafuyu. I mean, you remember the witch fight. Absolutely pivotal, Mafuyu was.
This is true. Those fan blades do damage.
Shall we return to the rest of the party now, Captain?
I believe so. I am feeling, well, not better, but not worse.
A sort of health limbo, huh?
I feel I need to meditate some more and rest. Recovery, I feel, will take time.
I meditate with you sometime, Captain. I learned quite a bit from our friends.
No, I'm sorry. I cannot risk that. I do not know the effects of those around me.
Understood.
Things have happened. Zothkug is a very unpleasant type to others. You can ask Dice.
Yes, full discretion. If that patron comes out of you while we're on the road or whatever, or comes to being, I'm not going to take arms against it. And I don't know about the other members of our party, but I think to do so would be quite foolish, and it would be the end of all of us.
Indeed, that is why I say run. Zothkug does not operate on the logic of man.
And we'll head back to the party, Kyle.
While these two have been out and about for the better part of like 30, 45 minutes to an hour, just discussing their next steps and putting in this commission, I'm really curious what the rest of the party has been doing as you've like made your way back to the Chateau de Partey. What has your evening been like? What are you looking for? What are you pursuing? What is your night?
I think after having witnessed what happens with Zothkug, Dice is going to go around and Dice has more experience with cleansing souls from a building, but I suppose Dice will go around and start trying to cleanse out any sort of badness, wrongness that they feel from the house, as best they can.
From your house?
And yes, from the chateau,
the
so
chateau.
to speak. Yes.
And I put up the bunny ears because the last time you cleansed a soul was like session 3 or 4, and you just unleashed it instead of necessarily cleansing it.
Oh, that was. I think you're thinking of the soul pouch, in which Dice just straight up opened the bag. So don't hold that against them.
Well.
They try so hard.
They did try very hard. Well, you take the time. How does a cleansing ceremony work for the lady? What does that look like? Is it something like with sage, where you go through the house and?
Yeah, I think it's something with sage and incense, and when Dice handles the bodies that they've seen on their journeys, usually has the incense go into the body, into the lungs, then back out again. Mm-hmm. But this is a house, and I guess a house is sort of like a person in a way. And so Dice just kind of like manipulates the incense in a very gently to go in and out of the rooms and through the doors, kind of like a breath through each hallway and in each room, and I guess trying to get the house in an odd metaphorical sense to breathe out all of the badness that's inside of it.
Okay. I'd like to imagine with this that you're like walking around with something like a censer or a bundle of sage and your incense going. just trying to clear out all of the funk and ichor in the house. Now, your chateau has had a sordid past.
Yes.
It's not always been the best place, but you've already taken time to clear out a lot of the negativity that was there. Tonight, as you go through the house, first of all, Satsuka's a hot mess, per the norm. And as soon as you start doing this, immediately pops in like, "Hey, I just want to make sure. Do you need something clean? Does it not smell right? Do I need to fix something?" And immediately is right there, like making sure that everything's okay before understanding like you just need some space to do your own thing, and backs off. But you take the better part of like 45 minutes just going slowly through the house, piece by piece, room by room, just weaving in this very intricate but at the same time not quite random. But you let the house decide where you need to go, and you let your heart and spirit guide that path. And as far as you're aware, after this time spent investing in your home, the house seems clean and untainted, if you will.
Oh, along this journey, does Dice find any objects out of place or like things that don't feel like they should be there? If that makes any sense. I guess so. Like Greta's book, the Yellow Book, like that is an object that feels wrong to Dice and just incorrect, which is why they didn't want to open for so long. So I guess something along those lines, like that. The house dictates kind of where Dice goes, and Dice just kind of goes where they feel like they should. And I guess along this path, did they end up accidentally walking to someplace where there's something that just feels inherently wrong about that room?
With this specific house, the only thing that's really out of place per se is the Karukan spear head that you found, which you now know is the head of one of their monk staves that was left to rot and petrified. As far as things that feel out of place, there's not a lot that's left. The prior owner, Adler Belloc, was one that was interested in collecting and hoarding information and then spreading out like a spider in its web. Doing what he could to not get his hands dirty and hiding behind facades when he did. And so this house specifically was meant to be a facade. So there's not much here other than the trophy that is out of place. I believe the only other item that was of any specific note was the wakizashi that I believe Ando has now.
That's me.
Did you take the wakizashi? You did.
I did.
You spicy person. Okay. Other than that, there's nothing that's really out of place. And Ando has the book with them on their person, last I checked. So there's no lingering funk like that, like of that caliber here.
Okay.
I would say that there's a little bit of tension and unease in the library, where Dao has poured so much time and effort and honestly trauma into the room. But that's all.
Okay.
While this is going on, Ando and Mafuyu, what are you doing?
Well, on the way back from the magistrate, I would imagine kind of as they're walking, Mafuyu's kind of just fidgeting with her hands, kind of looking down, and walks right by Ando and tries to kind of start a conversation. Thanks again for getting me out of that room.
Oh, it's okay. We all have our thing. Here's his blood, isn't it?
Yeah. It just happens. And I can't seem to get over it.
Oh. I don't mess with snakes. I figured it might be kind of similar.
I guess. It's just, I don't know. I kind of feel silly being an adventurer, and, you know, it's been already 2-3 times where I just feel completely useless, you know? But, I mean, I promise I'll work on it. I just want to say thanks again.
That may be what you see. Let me tell you what I see, Matthew. I see someone who stood up against all odds, saved their sister. You are not weak. You are one of the strongest members of this party.
Matthew's gonna just hug Ando and kind of bury her head kind of just on the side type of thing. Do a little sniffle and sorry, it's just forced to happen. Thank you.
Quite all right.
And then kind of walk back into the house. Because I would think that this was like happening on the way to the chateau.
Okay. Yeah. So is there anything inside the house during this time that you guys wanted to hit before I pull everyone back together for this?
I would like to talk to Fune about the I want to say Ushikoshi, the new the geisha house, to kind of see where her head is at about that.
Yeah, it's the Mai Okia. I believe it had been decided on. MAI. She presently, as you come and search for her, she's in your guys' current room, the old master suite where she was the night before. And you can see she's kind of just like working on tidying everything nervously. Like there's not a lot for her to do in this space. And so she's just trying to do the best she can, like cleaning things and tidying. And you can tell that Satsuka does a very good job of cleaning. So she's just like kind of like rearranging and like putting things back where they were and then like rearranging again. And as you come in, she immediately like flips around and says, "Oh, hey, didn't know you guys were back. How was everything?"
Everything's good. I mean, something happened, but I wanted to talk to you about that job offer. We just came back from a meeting with Artemis, and it looks like we're planning on heading out. Our group is heading out tomorrow, and I just wanted to make sure that you were okay with it. And if not, I totally can stay here. But I was thinking that maybe I wanted to see how you were and if you thought any more about that job offer, working with Satsuka.
Well, tomorrow is a little soon, isn't it, to be leaving already? Didn't you guys just get back?
Life of an adventurer.
I guess. It's your path, and that makes sense. And if it works for you, then I'm happy for you. Working in the other Okia, I think would be fine. I think it'd be a good opportunity for me. And I think I could succeed pretty well, especially now that the toad isn't there. I think it should be fine. Are you worried about it?
No. I mean, it does seem like it's a great place. And I mean, Aoi also works there, so I think it would be really great for you to get back into the swing of things.
I think so too. It's been a long time since I've been able to do anything like that, so I think I'd take a little bit of work and getting used to, but I think it'd be a good opportunity, and if it's fine with you, I mean, I guess it's not really your choice, but if you're supportive of it, then I can start working there. I don't really have anywhere else to go, so.
And feel free to stay here. I know she offers some room and board, but if it is more comfortable for you to stay here, feel free to. I mean, you know, Aoi and Satsuka, all of them are really nice and I think would help keep you safe.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll talk to her tomorrow and see if we can't arrange something. Her contract seemed quite nice and kind, especially with the offer of clothing and the like. Yeah, I'll set up a meeting and talk to her tomorrow, and maybe Aoi and I could walk together just to make sure everything was fine. You said something happened though today? Is everything okay?
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of blood, so I had one of my episodes.
Oh. But it's okay now?
Yeah. I mean, kind of frustrating that it still happens, you know?
Well,
But
yeah, I know, but it's you. That's part of you, and if that doesn't change, then it doesn't change who you are. You're Mifuyu. It's a facet, nothing more.
yes, but I mean, it does help that the rest of the crew helps me get out of those slumps.
I'm glad that you have people like that around you, especially in your group. I know it. When you're in those moments, it must seem like there's no escape, and that is all you can do and all you can be. But I mean, you're an adventurer. You're out there in the world, like seeing things, doing things. That's crazy.
Yes, you're right.
I'm proud of you, even if you still have an episode every now and then. You're still facing it. I think that's great. She kind of like takes your hands, says, "You're out here seeing and saving the world. We couldn't all be you."
Well, I hope that one day all of us, our sisters included, can explore the world together. Or at least I wish they could see me and you.
I think it'll happen. I mean, you saved me. If it weren't for you and what you've done and what you've learned, I wouldn't be here. It's not lost on me. We haven't really talked about it too much, but you've changed, and I think it's for the better. But I think life has a funny way. Even when things seem down and like there's no way up and nowhere to go, sometimes things are just waiting in the rafters. Like you. I didn't think I was going to get out of there, but then you showed up with this group of friends that we'd never even seen before and saved the day. So I have hope. I think your mic is cutting out.
Oh.
There it goes. Well, there it goes again. Sorry, is it? It's working like every couple of moments.
Hey.
Wait, there it goes.
Are we good?
I think we're good. Okay, I think we're good. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah. So, well, what time is it?
At this point, I'd say probably like 8:30, getting close to 9 o'clock.
Okay. Well, have you eaten yet? We can head down to the kitchen, see if there's any food.
Yeah, let's check in with Dice and see if they're ready to eat as well. And we'll get some dinner.
Okay.
She kind of like gives your hands a shake and says, "I think that'd be fun. What are you in the mood for?"
I don't know. I'm not usually picky.
Okay, well we'll find Dice and we'll get some dinner.
Sounds good.
She kind of just like leads off in front of you to find Dice, and at this point, everybody's kind of congregating and coming back to the house. So as you all return, it's about 8:39ish, as I said. Dice, Mafuyu, and Fuyune come up to you with thoughts of dinner. And you can tell that Fuyune is kind of like leading this because they know what's going to happen because they were there.
I forgot about that.
And they're like,
Way to go, Fuyune.
Hey, it's like, it's the time. And is being very subtle about it.
I love her.
And about this time, like, Giger and Dao come in after from their shopping thing, and Ando's home. The whole gang is here. The whole party's here. Satsuka hasn't prepared dinner. It's kind of noticeable, because you gather either Satsuka found out or like she and Fuyune had a conversation to like explain the whole situation about what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
How are we proceeding?
Satsuka, did you forget to make dinner again?
Well, yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I can make something now if we need it. Otherwise,
No! Don't.
Just because you don't eat doesn't mean we don't need to.
Hey, if you would calm down for just 1 minute, I need to take y'all somewhere. All right. Now that everybody's together, if you just trust me for just a moment here, I've got I got some plan. I'm so excited.
You know, my grandfather had a saying: first we eat, and then everything else.
No, don't doubt. Listen to me for this one time. This one time, everything else you can tell me what to do, but this one time, just let me have this. Let me have this one thing.
I'm holding you to that.
Okay. All right. Is everybody ready? Y'all got your best shoes on.
Best shoes. Oh well.
You can borrow some of mine, Ando.
Okay. If everybody's ready, then y'all can come with me. And I feel like Dice at this point, Dice's clothes are rock clothes because that's just how they are. But they've kind of like found something fancy from whoever's wardrobe, probably Miss Bellocs, and it's kind of like wearing it like a scarf or like a cape or whatever the hell they find.
I just imagine this like long sleeve dress. It's just like wrapped around your neck and just freaking tied like a superhero cape at this point.
Yep, I'll take it. And just kind of like both hands on hips and like just like starts walking towards the adventurers hall. It just kind of like assumes everyone's following them.
Okay. I'm assuming everybody follows.
I think I sneak a quick snack, but yes, I follow.
You bastard.
Okay.
Very, very confused, but yes.
Satsuka's definitely got like pocket bacon all in the rafters, like ready to go. Like it's
She's like
she had it
following me,
prepared.
just handing me bacon.
Yeah, she totally like had
Yes.
dinner prepared, but she like keeping on the down low, like she had something just in case.
We're like
I'm
giving each other
whisper it
secrets.
down, be like, "Can you hand me one of those?"
Yeah, she totally like on
Yes.
the down low, like like passing out
I got
bacon
you,
like
Mafuyu.
crack at a high school party.
We're like assembly lining bacon behind Dice.
Oh my god.
And I want to make sure that Fuyune knows that she's allowed to come with, so she's not just like back at the house.
No, Fiona is not allowed to come with, and she stays at the house and will remain
That
there.
makes you brought back my depression.
No, she comes with. I mean, and Satsuka's there, and I don't even think she has shoes yet, but she's now realized that she needs to invest in those because she's just been a house serf her whole life, and nobody's told her anything otherwise. So she's not spent any money on those. She's like, I'm gonna come, it's gonna be great. I don't have to do anything. The preparation's already been done. Blah blah blah. She's Zoots.
Zoot.
You all make your way towards the Adventurers Hall, push open the doors, and see a drastically changed space. You see Artemis there's like 5 or 6 people in there. Artemis is like at the counter waiting for something to go down. You don't know what the deal is, but there are dark blue and black streamers just going from like rafter to rafter, where it looks like they've purchased, or someone has purchased, like bolts of fabric just as is and just like woven them across the whole thing. And then on each of the tables he's taken like mugs, like just freaking like glass ale mugs, and just put candles in them, and then has like old wine bottles that have some candles like that have been like jammed all the way down in there and lit somehow. You're not sure what he did. And he took like little bits of like stone and glitter and put them in there so that make them reflect just a little bit. And on all the tables is like a little periwinkle streamer that goes along the very center of it. Looks like it's just like cut bolts of fabric that just goes along the very center of it. And in that back table that you guys always use for your meetings and party events, there are a couple of jars of moonflowers that he has procured and prepared. Just in water, but they're like decoratively along the length of the table that has that little booth that you guys always sit at. And Artemis comes up and he says, well, first of all, welcome, everyone, to the event tonight. As you can see, there are some refreshments and things of that nature here. We have a bar and food. If you'd like food, we can get food. There have been some pastries that I've procured from the Crystal Fleet, no less. But the inn is yours.
Dice has the biggest grin on their face and just kind of just like borderline tackles Artemis like, oh my god, this looks so beautiful. It's exactly like I want it to be. And just, it's just a mess.
You see, he's a little bit awkward because he wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, and he definitely spent a little bit more money on it than he was wanting to. But like, everybody seems happy at this point. All the other patrons are a little bit confused as to, like, what the heck is going on, because this is just like, this is the Denny's they come for dinner. But it looks great.
Yeah. And then Dice, once they feel satisfied and hugging Artemis, like, whips around really quick to face the party. It's like, I wanted to have a dance party before we left. And Mafuyu, I know you like to dance. So the floor is yours.
This is for me.
Yeah. I mean, you make everybody so happy and whatnot that, and I don't think you get a lot back for it. You just kind of do it without being asked, and Dice like sheepishly puts a hand to the back of their neck. I just thought maybe it'd be a nice thing to do. I mean, it's to your specifications, and thanks, Fiona.
Fiona's like
but
smiling on the corner.
But it's for I mean everybody else too, because it's a bar. Y'all like having your ale and whatnot. So it's whatever you want to do. But you said you would teach me to dance.
And Mafuyu's kind of like tearing up, and in Mafuyu fashion, runs and like hugs Dice. And she's thank you for everything.
Don't you even worry about it.
She kind of looks at everyone and says, thank you, all of you. I feel like I say that so much, but I really do mean it. I mean, without you, Fiona wouldn't be here, and this wouldn't happen. So, yeah. I have been kind of thinking on something, and I didn't realize that this would be the moment, but this is for you. And so Mafuyu's awkwardly gonna like stand on, or not awkwardly, but slowly just like stand on like assuming like the bar top of the main area and kind of grabs everyone's attention in the hall. It's like, excuse me, can I get everyone's attention?
It's like all eyes are on you at this point. Like everybody's like put down their food and drinks and is like watching like what is going on.
You may not know me or my group here, but we're the Stone Dogs. And this group has done so much for me. And I just wanted to dedicate this dance to them. Please enjoy. And does a bow. And she's going to kind of start off looking down. And then I imagine her hands kind of go up. And as they go up into this position, I cast Dancing Lights. And these orbs of like this moonlit blue light start flowing around me and just kind of like spiraling around my hand. And then as it kind of goes up, I do like one like little flick, and then the orbs kind of go into the four corners of the room, just casting like this moonlight across everyone's face. And then she kind of starts dancing and flowing, kind of starting off very inwards and then slowly kind of coming out of her shell and just graceful flowing movements. And this kind of goes on for a little bit, and I don't know exactly how like cantrips work in terms of like going through it, but like by the end of the dance, the four orbs of light kind of come back towards the center, and then I switch to casting, I think it's Minor Illusion.
Okay.
Of like this full-blown like full moon kind of behind me, like where the lights hit, and so it's kind of just like creates a silhouette of Mifuyu with the moon right behind her, and kind of ends with that.
Okay. So what happens is as you start this presentation, I'd like to imagine that you're not even like, you're aware of the crowd, but they're not your focus. So everyone else sees this. And if you want that to be part of your focus, that totally can be. But you watch the crowd go from like, somebody is on the bar. The situation is weird. Somebody's on the bar. They're obviously getting attention. The name Stone Dogs drops. Everybody knows who you are at this point because you have the leaderboard. And everybody watches their attention go from like interest to captivation. As these spells go out and you watch these orbs go to the edges of the room and start like, casting this light that's interfering with like the candle light that's on the tables and overwhelming it, because this spell would be brighter than they are. And so this whole room gets cast into this candlelit moonlight that is this very serene, almost romantic view. And as you go through these movements and these twisting motions in your dance, ending finally with this illusion, just casting light behind you and doing this presentation of your figure, the whole place erupts in applause, and you hear cheers and hollers from the crowd. And you realize that during this time, Sumiko and Aoi have both come in to represent the Geisha house, as they were asked to, and they're there clapping for you as well. And as the crowd kind of like dies down from this moment, Sumiko, once your moment has passed, comes up to you and she says, "That was incredible. I know that you have a heart for adventuring right now, but if you ever want a position, the house is open for you." And she just holds your hands and gives you every congratulation and praise that she possibly can. And you watch as like Aoi kind of like flows around people and like starts pulling out like her own instrument to provide a little bit of music for the party and things like that, and kind of like settles off in the back corner near where the doorway is for this inn. But is there any other specific things that you're wanting to hit here, or just enjoying the festivities after that?
I think just enjoying the festivities. At least for you.
I love that scene because it's such. Listen, the last time we had like dancing in a festival was Autumn Fire, which the Twitch stream was not active for Autumn Fire, but it was like really good session. It's one of my favorite ones, even to look back on. But I want to hone in on this moment, and I want to leave us in this moment. So if anybody else has any moments they want to get here in this scene, I'd like to hit that, because I want to focus on this tonight. Yeah, what's
up? I guess it's not having to do with like what Mufuyu's dance right here, right now. It's a different moment. So if you're gonna focus on that one dance, so that's fine. Then I'll get to it later. But
I'm gonna focus on that dance and the whole vibe of the party.
Okay.
So if you have stuff during that party, let's hit that, and then I will weave that into the end, because I really like that scene and I want to focus on that again.
All right. Yeah. So like, everyone's doing their thing, and Dice is weirdly sociable, and like tries to talk to all of like the, not even just the party, but just the other patrons that are there, and like tries to get them to play games and whatever, or like teach Dice how to play their games, whether it's like cards or whatever, and just trying to I guess hype people up. Dice is the hype man for this party, is what's going on. And so yeah, Dice is kind of like flittering back and forth between groups of people, and like every 10 minutes or so, like checks on Giger to make sure he's okay and he's not too tired, and if he needs a place to if he needs to like conk out in the other room, and doing this, that, and the other, and then Dice is gonna find Mafuyu, wherever she may be. Kind of, I was thinking probably closer towards the end of the night. Mafuyu, I'm much of a dancer or nothing. But if you'd have this dance with me, I'd appreciate it.
And before Dice could finish their sentence, Mafuyu just grabs hold of them and kind of leads the way.
The most of what Dice knows how to dance and what Dice can do is like really like awkward waltzing, kind of like a school dance. And they teach you how to do that kind of stuff, where it's kind of like just a very awkward, like kind of like a seesaw, like back and forth rocking and whatever, because Dice isn't very coordinated. Question, this is a weird question. How tall is Mafuyu, roughly?
Mafuyu is, I believe, like 5. Hold on, I have this written down. He's like 5'4".
Okay, that's fine. You're a little taller than Dice is. And so, as going along, and then Dice has a song from Mafuyu. So I told you there was gonna be another song soon. Send me a peach from Rattenwick, down where the ocean waves flow. If I could have one bite of Rattenwick, I would feel right here at home. And I miss the lanterns and sky there, fireworks with you by my side. If I could have one piece of Rattenwick,
just so I know you'll be mine. And I hope that you won't forget me before my road leads back to you. Though the winter may bring the whole world to its knees, the spring shall return with its fruit. The wind here is ready for winter. It seems to turn azurite blue. So just send me one little peach. Just a sweet, sunny piece of you. That's it. That's my little ditty. And so Dice kind of sings that and doesn't take their eyes off of Mafuyu the whole time, just like entirely focused on what Mafuyu was doing as they do this awkward little shuffle in the middle of the dance hall. So
That's cute.
Yeah.
Was that loud enough for 4 ales deep Ando at the bar to hear?
I'd imagine so. I would. Dice? Maybe.
Dice has no inside voice, so Dice doesn't really care how loud this is.
Ando has a tear, and he's also getting inspired. Or maybe that's the liquor. We'll find out here shortly.
Dice inspires Ando. I'm not a bard.
I would like to pull Ando aside at some point.
Okay.
Pump another ale into him and go, "Hey, Ando, do you remember those guys whose tattoos you took?"
Guys, the one I cut his scalp off. Yep. Yep.
Yes. The captain and I have resolved to collecting the rest of the tattoos, and we would like your backing in this.
I'd kill another one.
Good answer.
I believe by tales there were about 50 of them. I believe at this point we've probably killed somewhere near 10. So
yeah,
about another 40.
And I'll put my hands on his shoulder and I'll go, I like how you think, Yagi.
What did you just call me, Ando?
What?
You called me a different name.
Yeah. I'm just gonna kind of give him a little more of those. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dao.
And Dao will raise his own cup and clink it against Ando's. Here's to finishing a good hunt, yeah?
You know what, Dao? Here's to that. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go make a fool of myself. I'm gonna do a little dance.
Are you gonna do public urination?
Maybe. I'm not trying to. Things happen. Things are beyond my control at this point.
And Kyle breaks.
Oh, God.
I'm going to...
It's a proper party.
I'm going to push some tables out of the way, leaving one in the center. Everyone, I'd like to share a dance that, I guess at this point is lost to time and space. Can you? I need a beat. I need a beat. Dennison or Mafuyu. Can you do this for me? And I'm going to go 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's going to be alternating. It's 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's like that. Can you put one of those on?
Janison can't, but Mafuyu definitely can.
So, all right, you start doing that. I'm going to take this table in the center. My feet are going to go at the same rhythm, alternating. 1, 1, 2, in this circle around this table. And at every end beat, though, 1, 1, 2, start to yell a little ha, ha. And I'm doing this around the table. Arms are wide. And I get louder and louder. So at the end, I am just screaming. I stand on the table. Ah! And I finish with a fog cloud right on the floor.
Okay.
And then I make my stupid ass way out, and I'm gonna go find somewhere in the bushes to go lay down for a minute.
Okay.
Which I imagine at that point my concentration is expired, so the fog cloud should disperse.
Yeah. So, okay. First things first. I want everyone to take a point of inspiration here. Not everybody knows what they done, but I know what they done. This scene has a lot to it. And it starts with this beautiful piece from Mafuyu and transition into these different moments that you all have together. But this constitutes another one of this campaign's beautiful moments. In a world where fate has its way, but is uncertain, in a world where monsters exist and evil patrons plague their devoted followers, in a world where, like, just hours ago, we had this scene where Giger lay dying, giving everything he can to an entity that he feels doesn't care about him, just to keep himself alive. We have this expression of beauty and unity and just joy and companionship that takes what was shaping up to be the last night in Azeroth and turns into a night that no one in this party will ever forget and beyond. And with that, I am going to end the session. We will pick up next week, the morning after this party. I love you all. You've done a great job tonight, and I loved seeing these individual scenes play out, especially with this party. Yeah, you guys just did great. Just did great. For those of you that had secret things that you did, you know what you did? Oh, man. Oh, man. But for our audience, thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah, I just love you guys. You guys did great. I love you. Everybody take down that point of inspiration. That's a D6 towards whatever you want it for. And as you know, those do stack.
Thank you.
So I'm going to pop this.
So cool.
Did you say my name, or did you say so cool?
I said so cool.
It's so cool, Cal.
It's so cool, Kai. Nice job.
It's so good.
Everybody did such a good job.
Cool.
Thank you for entertaining my party.
This party was entertaining.
Thank you for entertaining.
It was a much needed break.
Well, and it's like it's especially in a D&D campaign where there are I thrive in the psychological horror aspects of this campaign. And for those moments, you need moments like this where things are good and okay and the world is beautiful again. Because if the world's not beautiful, there's no point to save it. These moments give a reason to do what you do as adventurers. Now, I don't know if an orcish dance in the middle of a hall in a civilized town of Azeroth
It was a horrible idea.
terrified of orcs is quite
I
It was
think
a
I-
horrible
I
idea.
think
to
it's
handle
great.
this.
I
But
love
Well,
it's still beautiful, and it's you, and it's the individuality of a party in a setting that knows how parties operate. Because if there was a place to do something like that, it was the Adventurers Hall. And it is a party that will go down in the history of the Adventurers Hall as a night to remember. Because that's who adventurers are, and that's what adventurers do. They take dark times and they pave the way and make bright moments out of them.
And big fog clouds.
And throw fog clouds in the middle of a...
it was level 1.
Denny.
It was level 1.
It's a fog cloud in the middle of Denny's.
What's up? What's up, Denny's?
What's up, Denny's?
Yeah, we need a 4-piece band. What's up,
He
Denny's?
says, what's happening, party people? But, yeah, daggum. Just daggum. Y'all did wonderful.
For anybody interested, the song is a modification of the song "Send Me a Peach." So the original lyrics is "Send me a peach from Georgia, down with the Savannah flows." So
Oh, and
That was an awesome little adaptation you did there.
Yeah, that was a good one.
thank you.
So good.
going to Raddenwick, gonna eat me lots of peaches.
That's the one I would have come up with.
Jeez.
That was really good.
Thank you.
But
I was in the zone there. I was like,
I know, we were all vibing, the whole party.
I was mesmerized.
I was vibrating. I was so nervous. My hands vibrating.
For those of you in the stream, good night. Thank you for watching. We will see you again next week. If you'd like to support us, we have a
Stone
Patreon,
dogs out.
Sea Treader Audio. We also have these on YouTube. Sea Treader Audio, same thing.